Good morning. And a special thanks for the wonderful music from the Voices Multicultural Chorus. It's lovely. It is wonderful to see everyone here today, newcomers, longtime members, those returning, and those watching online. My name is Kimari Johnson, and I am glad to be your celebration associate for today. Welcome, and may we gather today to nurture our connections, seek inspiration, and embrace change. Our theme for this month is resistance, and may we find comfort and strength for such action together. If you are joining us for the first time, please visit our welcome table in the parlor after the service, or fill out a yellow card in the back of the pews and leave it in that offertory plate. After the service, all are invited to join us in the parlor, that room right through those doors to my right, for coffee and conversation. If you prefer a quieter space, you are welcome to stay here in the sanctuary. Today, you are especially invited to join the social justice celebration in the parlor after today's service. Come mingle, eat different salads, and get to know the many social justice-oriented activities that are happening or being organized at FUSIT. We ask that you come get to know others who are interested in social justice activities and perhaps find a way to get involved. All are welcome there. There will be representatives from a wide range of topics, along with signs up for ongoing anti-racism work as directed by our recent 8th principal, and many more. We hope to see you all. This event includes lunch that is entirely plant-based and will be provided by the Demonstrating Our Values Through Eating, DOVE, action team of the Social Justice Council. Please take a moment to read the announcements in your order of service. And I'd also like to invite Matt Hare up for a special message from the stewardship team.
Good morning. I'm Matt Hare. I'm the chair of stewardship. And after this week's Wednesday announce, you all know I am no poet. I can't sing either. But fortunately, this purple hat reminds you that your pledge is important. Pledges, both small and large, help build our resources for the next church year, the church year that starts this July. The average pledge this year so far is $1,800, but of course we don't all have those means. Please give generously according to your means. With the help of you and so many others that are represented by hearts and butterflies behind me, we're about halfway there. We're shooting for that middle target, filling that whole circle. With that help, we can stay strong during this post-pandemic transition. Your pledges help support our remarkable staff, our cherished building, and the programming that keeps us all inspired, connected, and engaged. Please send in your pledge card. I have some here if you need one, or pledge electronically at the FUSIT webpage. And now, a message from Marie Benedetti about our upcoming auction, which raises funds for this year's operating funds, whereas pledging supports next year's mission, but we need the pledges now for our financial planning for next year. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Our exciting annual online auction will be happening the end of this month. I am Marie Benedetti, and I want to tell you the 4 main reasons why it's so important to me. Number 1, recycling. Like my mother before me, I love to take something old, dusty, broken, and make it shiny new again. As a child, my favorite store to go to was the Salvation Army, because that's what I called it in those days. Recycling, sustainability for our future. Number 2, outreach. How enjoyable it has been building partnerships with now 70 of our local vendors, feeling welcomed, sharing stories, overfilling with their spirit of generosity, being told multiple times, if you do well, then we do well. Number 3, engagement. Our members and friends join together, bid against each other, laugh together, dine together, and share our personal belongings and services with each other, all reaching out toward a common goal. Number 4, last but certainly not least, fundraising. We build our funds so we may have a platform to express our principles of faith, do the charity and justice work we love, provide education for our children, and support each other's values. And in doing so, we touch the heart of the universe. Please contact me if you have any questions. Simon Catterall, Alice Churchill, and I look forward to receiving your auction donations. 'From now until the 21st. Thank you. Next up is a message from hospitality.
Good morning. Let me introduce two of our three hospitality team. On the far left, Jack Sindom, my far left, your right, and Andy Turner. Cheryl Botts, our third captain, is on assignment today. A good strong cup of Unitarian coffee sure hits the spot.
And some non-dairy creamer, too.
I'll go with peppermint tea. I need to calm down after getting my kids ready.
Hey, Jack and Andy, as soon as we finish this hospitality team announcement, we can go back and sample all the great snacks today.
Well, I'm glad they've shown up. As of yesterday at midday, of the 120 people on hospitality teams 1 and 4, only 1 had signed up for snacks.
And only 2 people have signed up to clean up today.
Well, luckily, when we reached out, some regulars showed up, and we're good for today, but it was nail biter.
A real last-minute effort here. Before the pandemic, John Gaines had everyone on the Breeze database assigned to one of 4 hospitality teams, about 60 people per team. Or you could ask to be on the opt-out team if being a team member was a problem for you.
And Fred, I know we had each team working about a month, and then they had 3 months off. And we always had enough sign-ups for coffee, snacks, and ushering.
Yeah. So, I mean, we did still need to send out a Friday reminder to sign up, but we managed to fill all the positions, right? Coffee setup, ushering, cleanup, and snacks.
Maybe it's a good time to think about why hospitality teams are important besides this great Unitarian coffee. We have really 3 reasons. First of all, if you're on a team, you perform service tasks on Sunday morning, which also means you provide the most basic acts of a faith-based community, offering the first smile to all adults and children as they enter the building, and offering a simple meal, a beverage, and a space for conversation.
And Fred, the second important thing is that you free up the ministers and the celebrations team, which gives them a chance to take the time to focus and provide a rich program for the adults and children coming to the service.
And third, each of you gets to work within a little group of people who join you in ushering or cleaning up or sitting out snacks. This gives newer members and old hands time to work together, building closer relationships among us all.
And we all know great conversations occur while washing dishes. Maybe we can make our point best by quoting an email from a year ago this month. I'm sure you remember back then, in-person services had started 5 months before in November of 2021. And in April 2022, a year ago, we announced the start of coffee and snacks.
And right after that announcement, hospitality teams received this email. Hi, Fred. As silly as it sounds, the return of snacks could mean the return of our family to Sunday services. We haven't been attending at all since shutdown in 2020, so we would possibly also return to being part of a hospitality team. I'm getting the team emails, but haven't volunteered yet. End quote.
Need we say more? Let's continue to build our community, and hospitality teams are a really, really important and great way to do that. When you get a notice that your team is on for the month, please sign up. See you after church today for a beverage and a snack.
Let's go check out those snacks, guys. Thanks, folks.
Clearly, lots going on, lots of ways to be involved here. And I've also been asked to make one more announcement about the story of Dorothy Cotton, a hero of the civil rights movement. And this story is now showing at Cinemapolis through April 8th. So we have about a week or so of week. The release of this movie is something very special that me and the Ithaca community have been working on for years. And as many of you may already know, Dorothy was a member of FUSIT, so this is very exciting. She lived a life that radiated our principles before even being connected to the Unitarian Society. So please consider seeing this movie if you have a chance.
Our opening words this morning are by Reverend Jennifer Jo Von Roo. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and none at all. Our hearts are stretched thin. We see and hear the devaluing of people of color, of those with disabilities, of women, of immigrants, of transgender individuals. This list, incomplete as it is exhausting. And yet, we hold fast because we carry hope in our hearts. Hope that together we can dismantle systems of oppression. Hope that the collective of American humanity will look at one another and say, this has got to change. However thin our resilience may be wearing, we do not give up or give in. We look around and see our friends and neighbors carrying signs, moving and marching together, because we must not give up. We join thousands of people in the streets. We move for justice. We live for peace. We will not rest until we are heard. We will not rest until equity is made real all around us. And Spirit of Life, we look within our own hearts to the burning coal that is the center of our being, the place where our hope for the world lives, the place where our faith in humanity resides. And there we find the strength and courage to continue moving forward, however muddy and rough the path may be.
Good morning. I'm Ren Tuatha. Many of you might know me as that person with goats. But you may or may not know that I'm also a working poet. I have two goals in my poetry work. One is to cure the world of metrophobia, not the fear of cities or the DC subway, but the fear of poetry. Schools tend to teach that poetry is a puzzle or written in code, or that there's a right and a wrong way, and that the historic generations of white men embody the standard of excellence. Current poetry may feel much more accessible than the sonnets of your school days. As with all forms of art, music, film, painting, sculpture, a poet can take an audience to the deepest heart of current issues. So I'm very excited that National Poetry Month coincides with our theme of resistance. April is National Poetry Month, and my slogan for this year is "Poetry is Relevant." For my MFA, I focused on BIPOC and LGBTQIA poets and poets with disabilities, which leads me to my second goal as a working poet, to elevate underrepresented voices. So in the spirit of resistance and in service to both of my goals, I want to share a Pushcart Prize winning poem by Ross Gay. A small needful fact is that Eric Garner worked for some time for the Parks and Rec Horticultural Department, which means perhaps that with his very large hands, perhaps in all likelihood, he put gently into the earth some plants which most likely, some of them, in all likelihood, continue to grow, continue to do what such plants do, like house and feed necessary creatures, like being pleasant to touch and smell, like converting sunlight into food, and like making it easier for us to breathe.
And as we take in all of this wonderful community event and the actions that are happening today, let us take a moment to greet one another and those around you. And now I would like to invite Jennifer Cutter to come light our chalice this morning. And please join me in saying the chalice lighting words, which are printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action.
I have some friends that have agreed to help me with baskets this morning. As it is a new month, our Side with Love collection has changed. If you look on the back of your order of service, we are doing collections for St. John's Community Services of Ithaca, and you can see the complete list there. I invite everyone else to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 142, Let There Be Light. Good morning, friends. I'm wishing you all a wonderful beginning to the month of April and looking forward to exploring the path of resistance with you. I'd like to invite anyone at all, and thank you, friends, for helping with our baskets this week. I'd like to invite anyone at all who would like to come on up for our time for wonder, to come and sit right down on the steps and on the floor. Come on up, friends. All right, quietly raised hand. Who has not had a chance to open our Wonder Box recently? I saw Guthrie's go right up. You want to open that up for me, Guthrie, this morning? Hi, friends, come on up and have a seat. You can just open it up right here. Something small today. You hand it to me? Oh, what'd you find? A balloon. So we have a balloon here, and we blow up balloons with our breath. Whew. Our breath happens involuntarily. We breathe in, we breathe out, and we never really think about it, like when we're sleeping. But we can also notice and change our breath voluntarily. We can hold our breath, pant, and take deep, big breaths. Buddhists use the breath as a way to meditate and calm oneself. Simply by noticing our breath as it goes in and out, they can help us set aside our monkey brain and our thoughts that run this way and that. Instead, by breathing and paying attention to our breathing, we become mindful of the present moment. That is a form of resistance. We resist worry and anxiety, running away with our thoughts. Resistance means preventing something from happening by refusing to do something. And the reason that we're exploring resisting by breathing this Sunday is because we're close to FUSIT, which is Buddha's birthday, which is on April 8th. So I'm going to invite everyone to engage in a breath meditation with me now. I'm going to come out, and can I sit here with you? So I'm going to invite everyone to settle comfortably into your body, and this could mean different things for different people. It could be simply lengthening your spine, feeling the connection between your seat and the floor. It could be taking a moment to think about your breathing. It could be softening your gaze or closing your eyes. It could be sitting crisscross right on the floor. To begin with, am I still on? To begin with, I invite you to breathe in through your nose, and then once again out just through your nose. Your mind may wander as we breathe together, and that's okay. You can just bring your attention back to your breath. As we do this, we're going to breathe in and out through our nose. We're going to inhale together naturally, and then we're going to exhale while counting, first with just one. But as we go, we're going to increase the length of the exhale. All right, if you're feeling comfortable and present, I'm going to invite you to inhale and exhale, one. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last. Inhale. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a moment to return to the natural flow of breath. Thank you, friends, for exploring this one facet of resistance with me this morning. I invite any parents or caregivers who have not had an opportunity to sign your children into our religious exploration programming to meet Madeline and I in the parlor. I invite everyone else to sing us to our classroom with hymn number 414 as we leave this friendly place. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community. We want to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. This morning from Therese O'Connor, I'd like to send much appreciation to the stewardship team for their ongoing energy and to all those who contributed to the lovely soup and bread stewardship event recently. Terrific work. It's been a tough few weeks for Sam Weeks and Terry Starr. Sam's 98-year-old sister passed away on Tuesday. She lived in Minnesota. And Terry's 89-year-old sister, Helen Ackerman, who lived at Kendall, passed away last week. Please hold their family in your heart. For those we're holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call these names out loud into this community, into the space of healing and hope right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, may our hands be outstretched in kindness. And let us keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Blessed be, and amen.
And for further meditation, let us think on the following words adapted from the Karaniya Metta Sutta of the Pali Canon. May they help guide our thoughts as we sit in silence for a minute afterwards. As we have been blessed, so we bless one another to a blessing. Breathe in, breathe out. This breath we share with all that breathes. Feel the love of the universe flowing through this community, into you, and out into the universe again. Let the love of all the universe, your love, flow outward to its height, its depth, its broad extent. You are more than you know, and more beloved than you know. Take up what power is yours to create safe haven, to make of earth a heaven. Give hope to those you encounter, that they may know safety from inner and outer harm. Be happy and at peace, healthy and strong, caring, and joyful. Be the blessing you already are. That is enough. Blessed be. Amen.
Around the world, and even right here in our backyard, people who are part of resistance movements often draw strength from a higher power. For some, that may be named as God. For others, it could be something else. So as we sing this song, feel free to replace, when we're saying the word Dios, God, that you could be thinking of whatever you draw strength from when you need help and when you need strength. And we are also going to be singing this in Spanish. All the vowels are the same, so it's actually easier to pronounce Spanish than it is English. You can listen and then join in as you feel moved. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. Giving to the plate is important. It is a symbol of our gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the wonderful work of this church. For those watching remotely, instructions for giving using your phone or computer will appear on your screen during the offertory music and in the information below the live stream image on YouTube. For those attending in person, our ushers will pass the plate. Please join me in saying the offertory words printed in your order of service. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond.
Good morning, everyone. Last week, after service, I often chat with many of you, and Dawn came up to me and said, I'm really looking forward to your sermon next week. I liked what you wrote about it, and the concept of social justice, faith, and resistance is an interesting one. And I politely thanked him because it was very sweet of him to say that. But in my mind, I was thinking, oh my God, I have a sermon next week? I had no idea. So I'll do the best I can. My life for the last 3 weeks have been filled with many unexpected medical crises and family things. So my mind has not always been focused on what month it's been, so here we go. I had the opportunity to see the film, the Dorothy Cotton film, Move When the Spirit Says Move, last week. Last Saturday, I went with a couple of Baha'i friends who invited me, and I ran into Dick there and probably a couple of many people from the community, and that was really nice. But I'm saying this because I wanted to mention a couple of things. One, there was no question, it was a great film, and it was really nice to get to know Dorothy Cotton in the way that I did through that film. It also, the elements of that film coincidentally match up with the concept of social justice and resistance and faith, and I really like that. But the first thing I have to say is that when I was watching the movie with my friends and even in the audience, I realized that we were watching two completely different things, and it's important to say that. I feel compelled to restate that the experiences of African Americans, or Black folk, that's my 60s talk, in this country and across the globe are vastly different from those of white folk, especially those of my generation and older generations. When I'm viewing those kind of films, what I'm actually looking at is my life. And what I'm also looking at is the life of my mother and the life of her mothers and her fathers. And I'm also looking at the life of my son and the things that I hope do not come around again in this country. I worry about that. We all know about the things that have been happening to Black men, especially in the last few years, or actually for centuries, but certainly in the last few years, it's been brought poignantly to our attention. And so when I'm watching that film, I'm not watching it in a way that most white people are watching it. And I'm hoping that at some point, we can sit down together and talk about that exact thing, that how we are viewing our lives through these films. It was familiar to me. I left feeling raked through the coals, and it took me a few days to actually recover. And when my friends called me, they were like, man, that was such a great film. That really taught me so much about what you people go through and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, that's really great. I don't know what else to say. But I also told them, let's have a conversation about what we were both watching, because I know that their hearts are in the right places, and I think that it's important. I've always been aware of these different points of view. I remember before I was part of this community in the way I'm now, that Peggy McKernan was running a film series, I think under ARMT, that I thought were great, and we saw some really great things. And often after the film, when we sat down and we had a discussion, I realized again, my discussion points are very different than the discussion points of the people, the white people who are watching this film. And that's fine, and in fact it's helpful, but we don't talk about it, and we need to talk about that. One day, as I'm saying, we have to sit together in a very, very candid way. Not just this congregation, all congregations, all communities, especially in this country, especially during these times, and have these very conversations about how I see my life, how my life is lived, even in this year of 2023, and the worries and the concerns that I have about my people and my family that you do not have, that you may feel, but you can walk away from, that I go home and dream about and think about, and I can't let it go. I theorize that until we come to some consciousness where we are watching the same or near enough to the same film emotionally and even politically, where we all walk away feeling our hearts have been similarly broken, we will not move along to any great distance from where we are now, no matter how much social justice and anti-racist work we do. We have to feel for one another. We have to feel one another's pains. When I used to travel more, every place I went, I would visit a Holocaust museum, and I would sit and watch the films. And I walked out of there the same way I walked out of the film I saw about Dorothy Cotton, because I feel what's going on. Perhaps because our histories have similar suffering, but in any case, I do believe that we need to get to that point that when we see somebody hanging from a lynching tree, we see our own people, not just the people of mine. And I think that that's an important move we need to make in this culture. In terms of resistance and social justice and faith, resistance moves us in two directions. When we think of resisting oppression, we think of it as something coming from outside of ourselves that filter into our minds and systems. We forget we must also resist the things within us that cause us to believe in and use taxing stereotypes about others, stereotypes that keep us from engaging with one another in authentic ways. A couple of months ago, I did a workshop specifically about stereotypes, and a white woman said that she was getting to know a neighbor of color and wanted to ask her if she would like to go for a hike. And then she followed it by saying, but black people don't hike, right? So like with Dawn, I said, let's talk about that and what that really means. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, what was that? We must resist these thoughts that are fed to us through the world around us and that we internalize, which prove corrosive to building relationships with others. We will not accept that oppression is an unmovable part of the human condition. We cannot. We will move our minds, our bodies, our hearts, and our wills to dismantle systems that violate human rights. We must. We must move together not with secretly different goals, but with the same goal of uplifting everyone, no matter who they are, or where they come from, or what their education is, or what their class is. We must. Our movement must not be ego-driven, because it can be, not on an individual level or on a group level. I've seen this happen in many social justice groups that I've been a part of. There's a quote by Robert Kennedy. Each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring those ripples to build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. In terms of social justice, if we are going to use our social justice work as a catalyst for change, and we have not gone as far as developing loving, sustainable relationships across all social barriers, races, classes, and even religions, then what we have, in essence, is as a form of social justice is a business transaction with no substance. And that business transaction will come and go along with the focus of the business goal. It will not stay in place. So we must build relationships, however we can. If we do not invest in friendships with others, knowing them more intimately and understanding their lives, not from books or films, but by simply being together, chatting, watching a movie, sharing a meal, having a beer, and yes, maybe even going for a hike, our justice work will not go anywhere, and it will always fall short. A quote by Angela Davis: "I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. Freedom and justice cannot be parceled out in pieces to suit political conveniences. We are all implicated when we allow other people to be mistreated." In terms of faith, you're looking at a person of great faith, religious, spiritual, philosophical, sociological, and so on. I love the word and the concept. I grew up with a mother who saved our lives every day, provided us with food and shelter, and loved us even against the personal pains of struggling, her own struggling, that were inherent to a society that told her that she had no worth. She was able to do what she did for us because of her faith. And as crazy as it may sound, it sometimes sounds crazy to me, I actually have faith in each of you. I have faith because in spite of everything that may be completely different between us, the way we see films, what we come out of them with, the way we read books, and what we do with the information, I see very clearly the humanity in each and every one of you. I see your faith in one another. I see your hearts and your sincerity to want to save the day the same way my mother did, to want to sit at the table together, discernibly mixed, speak of hope, love, and peace, share a meal, and move together into a better world. I know that, and I have faith that we can do that. A quote by Dr. King: "We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream." Thank you very much, and thank you, Don, for reminding me I had a sermon today.
And please rise in body and spirit as moved for our closing hymn, 348, Guide My Feet.
today's closing words, I'll read a quote by James Allen. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. With the majority, the bark of thought is allowed to drift upon the ocean of life. Aimlessness is a vice, and such drifting must not continue for him who would steer clear of catastrophe and destruction.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.